She helped a lost man, then saw his face on every screen in the city. Do you know where I was going? Nora Ellis looked up from her sketchbook and found herself staring at the person who'd interrupted her quiet moment. The question hung in the air, unexpected and curious. A man in a ruined tuxedo stood under the flickering lights of the subway station. Rain was dripping from his hair and blood had dried near his temple. His eyes were fixed on the map as if New York had become a sit written in another language. Nora should have walked away. New York taught girls like her not to rescue strange men after midnight. But then he whispered, I was supposed to say goodbye to someone. His name, he thought, was Adrian. That was all he remembered. Not the penthouse waiting for him, or the powerful father searching for him. Not even the famous fiancée he was supposed to marry the next morning. So Nora took him to her tiny art studio above a laundromat in Queens. She gave him an old blanket and told herself he was only a lost man who needed one night of help. Then morning came. His face appeared on every screen in Times Square. Missing, Adrian Vale, architect, here, groomed to be. The whole city was looking for him. Was crying on television, and his father was offering a reward. And Adrian was staring at Nora's unfinished painting of a bridge in the rain. He was whispering her name like he'd loved her before he ever remembered who he was. Now Nora has to decide what hurts more, helping him remember the life he belongs to, or discovering she was never a stranger in it. Do you know where I was going? Nora Ellis looked up from the strap of her canvas bag. The 59th Street subway station was almost empty at that hour, washed in the tired yellow glow of fluorescent lights. A train had passed 5 minutes earlier, leaving behind only a warm metallic wind and a few old newspapers trembling along the platform. The distant sound of water was dripping somewhere in the tunnel. Nora had just finished packing her sketch pencils. All night she'd drawn tourists, couples, and drunk college kids. She even drew one elderly man who'd asked her to make him look less divorced. Her back hurt and her fingers were stained with charcoal. She'd made exactly $87, not counting the Canadian coin someone had dropped into her case like a joke. She wanted the last Queens-bound train, a hot shower, and 6 hours of sleep before she had to paint a mural at a cafe in Brooklyn. Instead, she found a man staring at the subway map as if it were written in code. He wore a black tuxedo that probably cost more than her rent. The bow tie hung loose around his neck. His white shirt was soaked through from rain, clinging to him in cold, uneven patches. One sleeve was torn near the cuff and his hand was scraped raw across the knuckles. There was dried blood near his temple. Gasped Nora, froze. New York had taught her many things. Never leave your bag open, never make eye contact with men muttering on platforms after midnight, and never mistake expensive clothes for safety. The man turned toward her. His eyes were gray, unfocused, and frightened. I think I'm supposed to be somewhere, he said. Nora tightened her grip on her bag. Then call someone. He looked down as if to find his own pockets. He searched them clumsily and pulled a phone with a shattered screen. The device was dead. No wallet, no ID. Just a torn theater ticket, a broken cufflink, and a few small pieces of glass stuck to the inside of his coat pocket. I don't know who to call, he said. Nora should have walked away. That was the sensible thing. The safe thing. The thing a woman did when she was 26 and alone underground with a bleeding stranger in a ruined tuxedo. But then he looked past her, toward the dark tunnel, and whispered, almost to himself, I was supposed to say goodbye to someone. Something in Nora's chest shifted. Not softened exactly, she wasn't that foolish, but she knew the sound of unfinished goodbyes. Her mother died during Nora's second week of filling out art school forms. There were still days when Nora reached for a sentence she'd never gotten to say. What's your name? She asked. He blinked slowly. My name. His brow tightened. I think it's Adrian. You think? I'm sorry. The apology was so automatic and so oddly polite that Nora almost believed his confusion. Almost. She stepped closer, keeping enough distance to run if she had to. Last name? He closed his eyes, trying hard. Nothing. A train announcement crackled above them, distorted and useless. Nora looked at the blood on his temple and the tremor in his hands. She saw the way he kept glancing at the stairs like part of him expected someone to appear there. You need a hospital. At the word hospital, his face changed. No, it wasn't a question. No hospitals. His breathing quickened. Please. I don't know why, but no. That terrified her more than if he'd shouted. A man with no memory who feared hospitals. A tuxedo with mud on the hem, broken glass, a dead phone, a goodbye he couldn't place. Every rational part of Nora told her to find a police officer. Instead, she heard herself say, "I have a studio in Queens. You can clean up there. 1 hour. We figure out who you are." Adrian stared at her as if she'd offered him something impossible. "Why would you help me?" Nora slung her bag over her shoulder. "I'm already regretting it. Don't ruin the moment." Her studio was above a laundromat that never fully stopped smelling like detergent and burned quarters. The stairs were narrow, the radiator hissed like an angry cat, and half the ceiling leaked when it rained too hard. Miles was still awake when she unlocked the door. Her younger brother sat on the floor with sheet music spread around him, a violin case open beside his knee. At 21, Miles had the suspicious eyes of someone who'd watched his sister give away too much of herself too many times. He took one look at Adrian and stood. "No." Nora shut the door behind them. "Hi to you too." "Nora, absolutely not. He's hurt. A stranger. I noticed. A bleeding stranger in a tuxedo. That's not a person. That's the first 10 minutes of a murder documentary." Adrian, pale and dripping rainwater onto the floor, said quietly, "That seems fair." Miles pointed at him. "Sighs, I don't like that he agrees with me." Nora got towels from the bathroom, cleaned the cut near Adrian's temple, and wrapped his scraped hand while Miles hovered like a furious guard dog. Adrian didn't complain. He flinched only once when thunder rolled over Queens and the windows shook. Later, Nora gave him the old sofa and a blanket with paint stains on one edge. Before lying down, Adrian stopped in front of the large unfinished canvas propped against the brick wall. It was a bridge in the rain, not a famous bridge, not one tourists photographed, just a narrow pedestrian bridge from Nora's memory.